Hello friends, welcome to part 2 of Plutonium Nitricum. Last time we saw in Dr. Aditi's case, there were themes of internalized anger, control, altruism, and destruction in the form of severe grave pathologies. Now let us see another shade of the remedy, which is showing loss of control. I invite Dr. Anita Bajaj to present her case. Welcome, Anita.
Hello, friends. I will be presenting a case of plutonium nitricum, but the presentation is a little different from what Aditi presented. So that is the reason we decided to take both the shades of plutonium, which we have seen in our clinical practice. So I will start with the case. This is a case of 38-year-old male. And I will give a background first. This patient's mother, brother, sister-in-law, and their kids, they are under my treatment. So I know the family very well. I know the family background very well. So from time to time, they used to discuss about patient directly or indirectly. So these people were facing problem with this patient because he was not attending to business regularly and sincerely, and he was under influence of his friends a lot. And then once his bhabhi or sister-in-law also asked me how to diagnose drug addiction or how to confirm whether the person is taking drugs. So that time, like, she had said that she was inquiring for her neighbor's child, but later on she told me that she was asking for her brother-in-law. And then I had suggested blood test for that to confirm it. And then finally they approached me saying that brother-in-law had a lot of issues. He had created a lot of problems. He had taken up a lot of money from people. He was into drug addiction. He was not able to handle his business well, and his shop had to be shut down. But patient was not ready to visit me. He was not ready to come to me. So from mother's history and from wife's history, I had prescribed him some medicine. And then for quite some time, I was in contact with his wife on phone. And his mother also used to come for her follow-up. So she would also update me. So for quite some time, almost 3-4 months, I was treating him like that. And they found the response. So finally, he agreed to come. And the case I will start is the history which I have taken from him. So let me share my screen. So patient, in his family, parents are there. Then his younger brother is there, sister-in-law, and their 2 kids. Patient is married, but he doesn't have any kids. And his 2 sisters are married. So the history went like he described his whole life from childhood. So in childhood, like, it was, though they were not financially very well off, but still the childhood was very happy. He was more interested in playing. He was easygoing, happy, and playful child, not much interested in studies. But from the age of 13 to 14 years, his father started, involving him in his business. He had wholesale gunny bag business. So they had to carry a lot of weight and travel by train to different destinations to deliver the material. So when patient was 13 to 14 years old, he was sent in train attending to the clients. So he used to do work very happily because he got to travel in train and he could, travel independently. So that also, made him happy. But then at the same time, he would miss playing because he wanted to play and father would send him for the business. So that would, sometimes he was not liking it. But he never complained about it and he went on complying to whatever his father said. So I have written in red whatever I concluded from that part of the life space. So from this, I felt like it was for the love of family that he went on doing it, because father was not dominating or there was no fear as such that he had to submit to it, but he was doing it out of love. College also he joined just for fun because he was not that much interested in studies. And then after he finished his studies, by then father had started a shop of electronics, and for father and younger brother were attending there. So now for younger brother also, this patient had a feeling that my other brother and sisters had life very easy, because he was attending to business, younger brother was not needed, so younger brother had freedom to play and enjoy with his friends. So somewhere that part patient used to feel. Now, since father and other brother were attending that electronic shop, father started another shop in little distant place for him, because all three are not required in one shop. But that shop, somehow it did not pick up. So they changed the products also. Like they started with ready-made garments, and then they started keeping electronics. But somehow that shop did not pick up because that area was not that good. So patient was quite frustrated, and whatever ideas he had, father did not agree to that. So there were some differences with father. So he was little disappointed on this front. Then at the age of around 22, 23, he was married. It was an arranged marriage. But within few days only, patient came to know that the girl had married under pressure of her family, and she already had a boyfriend. So this marriage did not work out, and within few months they had taken divorce. So after that, after some time, he fell in love with a girl through a common friend, and that relationship lasted for about 1 or 2 years. It was a good relationship, but still, girl was married off to some other boy by her family. So he felt that, that relationship did not work out. So again, he had this disappointment, and he couldn't take this disappointment. So he left home without informing anyone. He took bike and he went on just driving. He said, he described it like, he just went on driving for 7 days continuously without realizing anything. He had suicidal thoughts, but then he just went on and on. And he realized when he reached Rishikesh. Now, just imagine, from Mumbai, he went to Rishikesh without realizing. And he did not have much memories of that journey, where he stopped, what he ate, what he did. Like, he was not able to give details of that journey. He was not in his senses. And he just, when he reached Rishikesh, he started his mobile. He had shut down his mobile also. He started his mobile and he updated his status. So through that status, family also came to know that he was in Rishikesh. Police complaint was also lodged, and they were searching him everywhere. So finally, from his status, it was, they found out that he was in Rishikesh, and they tried to get him back to Bombay. So this was one, very important incidence of his life, which will give the understanding of this patient. So like it was, I have written wandering and lost. He was, not in his control. Then finally, his family members, they opened a new shop for him in a good area. There the shop was running very well. Now, first time he has his own freedom and autonomy, like everything was under his control. He had a lot of money flowing in. And because of this money flowing in, and he was always a, very helpful, friendly person. He was very good to talk to. So he had a lot of friends, and he used to get influenced by those friends. So now with a lot of money in hand, people started exploiting him. They, put him on drugs and all. They took him for those experiences, alcohol and drugs. And there was a family of 2 girls with their mother, and they had lost their father. So there was not, there was no male member in their family. So patient, used to help them financially and otherwise also. So it was through common friends they knew each other. So family suspected that he was having affair with one of those girls, but then that was not true. Then finally, through common friends and through matrimonial site, he also got married to a divorcee girl of his community only. So now all this is going on simultaneously only. So he fell into drugs. Family was not aware of it. Because of drugs, he lost a lot of money. He gave money to different people and he never kept any record of that. And then finally, there was a day when there was no, he did not have money to continue the business. At the same time, he had taken a lot of debts for buying drugs. So this part of his life, it was not, the family was not aware of it. Neither wife used to suspect sometimes that something is wrong, but then nobody knew about this part of his life. So, IPR with that girl, then they always felt that so much money was coming in, but then they are not getting any money from him. So they thought that secretly he was, buying a flat or buying a car, or I don't know. Like they were not aware of it. And whenever they asked, he used to get angry. So somehow that part was, kept untouched. Nobody, tried to explore that or confront him just to maintain peace in the family. So sometimes he would, talk to his wife because wife was very friendly. And then gradually, the thing was discovered because he had taken a lot of money and people used to come to the house to asking for the money. And he was not, speaking truth to his family, how much money he had taken, whom did he owe money. Then all these things, his family was totally confused with who has to be repaid and whether to repay them because there were no documentations and all that. But people used to threaten them and police case was done. To save him, they promised to repay all the money. But then there were no records also. So whatever people asked, they had to, promise to repay them gradually. So family was very helpful. But when they used to ask him again and again, like, do you remember how much money you have taken? Why did you take so much money? So definitely he was questioned because a lot of money was involved in lakhs. So patient, kept quiet. He kept away from everyone. And he used to get angry if they, asked him again and again. He was restricted at home because of threats. Now no money, no work. But still, this patient was totally isolated and he went into social isolation. So he was idle, no work, no money, plus restrictions. And he was at receiving end now because he had committed so many mistakes. So for which he had to be at receiving end because a lot of threats were also there. So there was a lot of anger in patient, agitation was there, and restlessness was there. He was not able to move out because of the fear of debtors. Then whenever he used to just sit and watch movies, watch TV, and whenever there was any scene of injustice or unfair treatment, he used to feel so much anger that he would clench his feet, jaws. Then he used to punch the wall. He used to mumble something. Nobody could understand what he is saying, but he would continuously mutter something. He used to play PUBG. At night, everybody would be sleeping, but he would sit and watch TV or just pace up and down. And that time, he used to be in a lot of anger. And then when family used to ask again and again, then he would threaten to run away. Then while driving bike, he would always get this impulse of bumping the bike to other vehicles or dashing the bike. Then Once he also said that I will sell my kidneys and repay my loans. Then he felt like going to a distant place with his wife and settling there. So in this way, his mind was very unstable. He would blame his father for spoiling his life because he did not listen to him when he was running that first shop. Then though family was helpful, protective, shielding him, yet he was not happy with the family. There was no communication except with wife. And when, he grew very anxious, or when he was very depressed at that time, he would talk with mom and bhabhi also. Because father and brother used to be on shop. So he used to be alone at home with these ladies and the children. So he used to talk to them. So when he started attending their shop also, father and brother told him to attend the shop so that, at least he will be occupied. And his communication skills were good. So they will be able to use his marketing skills. But then he would go to the shop, but whenever father or brother said anything, he used to feel angry and he would come back home. Whenever he got calls from the debtors, he used to get disturbed. Then finally, they looked for a job at Pune at his maternal aunt's shop. She was running a shop where she sold all art material, colors and paints and craft material and all that. So he wanted to move away from Mumbai. So he was sent to Pune to work in that shop. But there in the shop also, whenever he got any calls from here, he would get disturbed and then stop working and he would come back. So the problem was he was not settling down. He was quarreling with parents or family. He was restless at night, couldn't sleep. There was a lot of anger and frustration. Now he has a softer part also, because with his brother's children, mother, wife, and sister-in-law, he was quite close. So mother would also say that if he comes here, you will not find that he is abnormal in any way. He will talk so nicely. He will talk so, sweetly with you. He wins over everyone. So this is his quality. But at the same time, he has violent anger. Because if anything happened in the society, there used to be some rowdies who used to make noise or trouble people there. So he would fight, he would go out alone. He was so bold that he would go out alone and fight with those goons also. So once there was a police complaint also about that. So basically he's a friendly, helpful and charmer, and now isolated, estranged from family and society. So these are the two parts of this case. So we will go on to the analysis, because we want to cover a lot of things about this remedy, because this remedy is a very huge remedy. So analysis goes like this, that from childhood, he helped father, worked hard, though he wanted to play. So somewhere his desire was suppressed. He was, pushed to grow up earlier in his life. Then the first disappointment came in the business, when business was not doing well and father did not give him free hand. So he was being controlled. Then there was disappointment in love. There was a failed marriage. And then that incidence of, wandering on bike where he reached Rishikesh. So he was not in that control of his emotions. And there was so much of agitation that for letting out that energy, he had to travel so much. Then this new shop was doing very well. He had autonomy, a lot of money, fell into wrong company. So this was where, his destruction started. He was doomed. And then finally he was exposed. The secret part of him was exposed. So after this exposure, where family came to know about his finance mishandling, and he had taken so many loans, and shop was not doing well, and he also started taking drugs. So once the family came to know about it, he went into embarrassment. He isolated himself. It was like fallen from grace, had to take help of family because there was no choice. There were restrictions, threats, a lot of pent-up anger, rage, clenched fists, hitting wall, agitation, restlessness. He thought of selling kidney. That means he did not even care about his own health. Moving away from society. It was like self-sabotage. Then estranged from father and brother because he found, for him, those two were villains. Because brother had got easy life and father had, made him work in childhood and he did not give him free hand. So he had a lot of anger from interruption. So these are all the rubrics which I have taken. So first is disappointment in love, that one particular event which defined his life, which turned his life was, I have taken these rubrics because he was not at all aware when he moved on bike. Just imagine traveling for 7 days without realizing anything, what he ate, what he did during that journey, what he come across, why did he not talk to anyone? None of his family members, none of his friends. He had a lot of friends at that time. So it was, very strange behavior. So we can take it as PQRS, peculiar, queer, rare, and strange. So I took these rubrics: spaced out feeling, where you are not in your senses. Unconscious conduct automatic. He was not doing it with consciousness. He just went with the flow. Wandering ameliorates. Confusion of mind, knows not where he is. Confusion of mind, lost feeling. Delusions, head separated from body, head is. Now, head is the control, head is the CPU of the computer. So when there is no control from the brain, body will behave the way it wants. So there was no control. Delusion, drugged as if. He was as if, intoxicated. He was not in his senses. Withdrawal from reality. Delusion walking, he has been walking years for. Now, metaphorically, we are taking biking as walking. Finally, it is the distance covered. So this may be an acute psychotic breakdown in this patient. So this phase, Plutonium Nitricum is coming up through and through. We will see other parts or other shades of this personality. Now, this is the downfall, where there is elements from embarrassment. Delusion bomb has just exploded. Like family has discovered what wrong was going on. So whenever we say, our mistakes are caught or wrong acts are caught, we say, abhi to bum girne wala hai. So it is like, this delusion bomb has just exploded. Then delusion paradise, the fall from delusion lost, the fall from paradise, fall from grace. Paradise lost, the fall from grace. So this is, where you are losing a position of advantage, where you had a lot of grace. From there, you are falling because of some wrongdoings and you lose that advantage or you lose that position. Delusion clouds, black clouds enveloped her. Then delusions, emptiness of, because nothing is left now. He doesn't have business, he doesn't have shop, he doesn't have friends, he doesn't have any social contacts. Delusion trapped, he is in the underworld. Like he is isolated, he cannot move out freely from the fear of, debtors who will catch him or ask him for money and all that. So he has gone underground. Despair future about. Estranged family from his, especially brother and father. Eyes downcast, walks with the eyes downcast because of the shame or the lost position. Company aversion to desire for solitude. He's just sitting alone watching movies and playing PUBG. Company aversion to mortification with. Now, what is mortification? Mortification is the, death of a part. So he has, just ended one part of his life here where it is, completely dead. So mortification is also like if you go into deep embarrassment and shame, you try to deny yourself of goodness of life. So it is like, you don't feed your wrong part. So you deny yourself of that wrongdoing. You try to change that, So it is that mortification where your life is very deeply affected. A part of life is gone. Restlessness, must constantly. So at home also, he's just pacing up and down. Restlessness, sitting while. Now, fall from grace is lose favor or position of power or honor. Like after they have given examples that after 2 Oscar nominations, he had 2 Oscar nominations before falling from grace. So he was at higher position and from there he fell. So it is like descending from a state of divine favor into sin. Where there was, bolte na Bhagwan ka haath rehta hai. From there you have fallen and you have gone into the state of, you have committed a wrong and sinned. So Adam and Eve fell from grace when they ate the forbidden fruit, because that forbidden fruit created lust in them or created a sexual desire in them. There is anger controlled being. Like you can, interpret it in 2 ways, that when you are controlled, you get angry, or when you control your anger being controlled. Anger internalized. Now we have to see where, if you, in repertory, if you see suppressed anger, you don't find plutonium nitricum, but it is anger internalized. Now, what is internalized is what you inculcate in yourself. So here anger has gone much deeper and it has taken deep roots within the system. It is like in your software, it has got into like a virus, So it will affect your perception, it will affect your reactions, it will affect your adaptation, everything. So internalized is much more deeper than suppressed. It is more like repressed, and patient is not aware of where the anger has gone. So on face, you will not see the anger. You will not see the expression of anger, but you can definitely feel it because they become destructive. Like we saw in Aditi's case, where there was anger was visible, like palpable. Aditi used this word that it was palpable, palpable anger was there. And at the same time, lot of destructive pathology was there. So which talked of repressed emotions. So now here, other delusion is like delusion house looks like a stage setting. Why? Because there is no spontaneity. Because there is no free communication. Because there is no, free communication and bonding. So it is like, they are planning how to repay the money. That thing is being, kept secret from him. You don't bother about it. You don't tell anything. We will see how to handle the matter. So as if, he is not involved, and there is a stage setting where people are doing things. You don't know what they are doing, and they are planning out things and doing it, though it is for helping him only. Delusion, he is trapped in the underworld. Despair, love from disappointment. Now, we have, elements from disappointed love, but for despair, love from disappointed, only 4 remedies are there. So it goes to the level of despair where there is nothing left. Everything is gone. Forsaken feeling, isolation, sensation of grief, past events about. Because from childhood, he started describing everything. Though, we had a lot of reservations whether the patient will talk freely, how will I handle, how will I take the case. But when he started, he without many questions, he just went with the flow and he described from his childhood to his current state. So he was just, having that sadness and grief about past events. Indifference family to his. Though his actions have caused so much trouble for his family, so much liability for his family, so much loss of face for his family. Socially, even the whole family is, people are looking at them with in negative light. But still, he is not bothered about that. He is still having his own negativity towards his family. So first remedy which I had given him when he was not coming to me was pseudosukha menensis from anger about family. It's a single remedy. So I had given him that, in 201 impotency, and there was some difference. Now, if you compare plutonium nitricum with pseudosukha menensis, there is a lot of similarity. If you see their anger, if you see their forsaken feeling and hatred, all those things are there in that. We will take up that remedy if we get some other case, because learning a remedy through case is very good. Restlessness, move must constantly, suicidal disposition from disappointment in love, detached. He's detached from his family, estranged from his family. He is prejudiced about his father and brother. He is carrying some fixed ideas about his father and brother. Now, if you see his positive side, he is confident, content with himself. He was running his whole show. Courageous. Delusion, he is a child, and delusion he is a child and acts like a child. Now, we had, described in Dr. Aditi's case that it is in the 7th row, 3rd column. So if you see, 3rd column is toddler age. So you see a lot of childishness in him with respect to mishandling his business, being playful, being little heedless. He's not very careless. He's not a very mature businessman. Though he does good business because of his communication skills and his charm, but handling of the funds, handling of the shop, handling of the business, he is not good at. That is why, it went into downfall. Delusion, he's behind a mask. So he has that secret face of him, which was exposed after a long time when he went into a lot of depths. Industrious, he is hardworking. Nobody can say that he is not working hard. From childhood, he carried loads. Shop also he tried to run well. Accident prone. Now, metaphorically, if you see so many things, so many negative things happening in his life, so even that shows his heedlessness. So accident prone people are, somewhere careless. They don't have that cautious approach, and they don't have much balance. So they keep falling. They keep striking against some things. Accidents happen. Accidents are mainly because of human error. So this is the life plutonium nitricum has, where they are heedless, careless, and they cannot take care of themselves. A little bit of destructive tendency is there. Little bit of risk-taking capacity is there. Not little bit, but to a large extent. That temper tantrums, way he is behaving in his family, I will leave, then I will commit suicide, or I will sell my kidney. So somewhere, people are scared to tell him anything, though he has done so many wrong things. Now he has this indifferent to business affairs. It was from beginning that on led to this downfall. Alcoholism, this rubric can be taken for any addiction. So with this understanding, I gave him plutonium nitricum 200 weekly doses. Treatment was not regular, but then still he took at least for 2-3 months regularly. And then he shifted to Pune and he settled down in Pune. So he was fine. Thoughts were better. Restlessness was better. He was sleeping peacefully. He settled down at Pune. And after this treatment started, there were no complaints from the family. Because he had settled down at Pune, working in the shop, he was doing very well. He was working hard, though salary was not that good. So now, on the contrary, mother was sympathizing with him that he was working so hard and my sister is not paying him well. So gradually, his wife also went there. She also learned art workshops and she started teaching in the shop. So both of them were settled there. But unfortunately, wife was not very happy with less salary. So she keeps coming back to Mumbai. She says that this money is not sufficient to survive there. But family is paying the rent of the place in which they are staying. And other things, patient only takes care of. He is very happy there. So from his side, there is no disturbance in the family. And he himself is happy, settled in Pune. So on 27/4, once I had repeated Plutonium Nitricum 1M because he had received some call and then he had a fight at home regarding that. And he got wild on his father for not paying money on time as promised. So after 1M, he stabilized. So after 1M dose, he has not come. But then just before presenting this case, I had talked to his sister-in-law and took the follow-up. He's doing very well. It's almost 1.5 years. Sorry, 1 year. 13/5/22. He went there in about in February, I think. And then from February onwards, February 22, till now, he is in Pune, well settled. Now we will go to the proving of plutonium nitricum. And then rubrics will be taken or study of this rubric of this remedy through mind rubrics will be taken by Shobha. Can you see other PPT?
Yes.
Okay. This is the summary because Jeremy Sher has given a very long rubric, right from, the background of radioactive material, radioactive pollution, nuclear pollution of the world, how it led to all genetic defects and their connection with religious or spirituality. So I'm trying to, focus on important points of this proving. Plutonium presents collective unconsciousness. So when you are going to lanthanides and actinides, they are below the earth, occult, hidden. So they represent the subconscious or unconscious, which is hidden from the reality. But it governs all your actions. So it is one of the themes, there is a secret part of life and there is expressed part of life. So you will get both these things. Then it also represents the theme of death and renewal because this is old age. So it is approaching death and finally there will be rebirth. So rebirth represents renewal. Then transformational abilities because these people have a lot of spirituality. So they can win over their weaknesses and then they transform. So this is the, understanding of actinides. So we will go to the provings. So first state which provers described was feeling of lightness after taking this medicine. They were happier. They were better able to cope with life. They were relaxed, have more passion, strength, and power. They become very good at performing. They are able to detach and see from distance. So they become more like unprejudiced observers or objective people. When you detach from the circumstance, you can definitely, you have better balance. You can see things in an unprejudiced way. So this part is there. Then they felt high-spirited and there was emotional excitement. They also went into out-of-body sensation, which created emptiness, anxiety, fear of death, and then started thinking about rebirth. They felt spacey, as if sitting on left side. Left side of the brain is logic and reasoning. So they cut off their right side, which is emotions. So that is why you will see unfeeling, detached, indifferent, cruel, this negative shade also. So they are off balance. They have the sensation of being elongated, as if, they are seeing from height, with still and silent head. There is heaviness and depth. So because of that heaviness and depth, which these people feel, they feel things look very superficial. And they are not interested in superficial conversations. They are not interested in superficial experiences. This remedy seems to work like a mushroom, like, a nuclear bomb explodes, you can see smoke in the shape of mushrooms. So action is growing underground and then suddenly popping up like a mushroom. So there is a lot of thing which is going at subconscious level. And then suddenly it presents as destructive, either at the level of mind or at the level of body. So a lot of repression is there, a lot of load is there in the subconscious. So you get a lot of dreams also. We'll come to dreams later. Recalling past shameful event. Feel blushing deep inside. Now just imagine, blushing is seen on face. Face becomes red. But here, blushing is also felt deep inside. So see how much internalization of emotions are. Eyes downcast, as if small, deceitful child again. But they change the topic. Once they are, talking about shameful event, but suddenly they realize and they will change the topic and put on the mask which they always wear. So this is how they hide their emotions, how they go behind the mask. Then again, there is revelation about the buried parts under the effect of this medicine. They are seen as loyal versus they have repressed sexual desire, buried inside. All these negativity is buried inside to keep balance. Again, internalization of anger is just a part of adaptation. Digging up past as if awoke after ages. So you get, a lot of theme of past life, genetic, then mythology, right from Stone Age, right from the time, human beings started. So Neanderthal, sins of their father. They are, suffering from the sins due to the sins of their father. So it shows the miasm, how miasms go deep. We always inquire about past history, family history to understand the miasm of the case. So in this case, there is such a huge, deep pathology. So deep miasmatic load at the level of emotions. There is a lot of trauma. And at the level of pathology also, you see, there is a lot of load, miasmatic load. Core issues. No emotional care in childhood. So, this isolation in childhood, solitary confinement of a child, staying at family friend's house where he cannot live freely. So in Aditi's case also, he was living with his maternal uncle and he did not feel so much of bonding with Mama Mami. They feel grief. They want to weep. So they want to let out the emotions. And no embarrassment to weep. Generally, they hide their emotions, but under the influence of this remedy, they feel like weeping, and this is not unusual. This is quite unusual for me because I never express my emotions. So now trying to weep, it is, bringing out my weakness. Recall past, root of suffering as if in sexual abuse. So in this remedy, you get a lot of elements from discords in the family, abuse in the family, discords with friends, buried emotions, too embarrassed to let out. Why had anger for mother, wanted to weep but not able to. So whatever anger was towards mother, he was not able to express it there. That is why indirectly the anger get displaced and he smashes the car. Now this patient also had this, feeling of smashing his bike. Still couldn't feel any emotions. He felt detached. He felt cold, Fear of evil forces, including my aura, paranormal forces, Whenever you can't accept your negativity, you try to push it on to paranormal things. A lot of questions about other dimensions, fear in dark, sexual advances by men, mistrust, disgust, felt more manly. Now you have this rubric of, manly woman to protect self. Change in body image, mastectomy because of breast cancer, again a very deeper pathology. There is this sexuality also, which is also repressed. So under the influence of remedy, sexuality is aroused. There are a lot of, sexual issues, homosexuality is also there. Emotions, isolation, despair, suicidal, irritability, anger, intolerance, impatient, rude, cruel, sharp, aggression. So there's so many, destructive emotions are there. So as they go into depression, there is a lot of withdrawal, disconnect, unfeeling, no response, no communication, no conversation. They become taciturn, aversion to company. They don't want to be near needy people. Because otherwise, being benevolent, they would feel like again helping them and get into the exploitation. Change to be more loving. Now this change comes, that we had seen transformation. So this change comes where they want to communicate. They want to write letter after long silence to my parents about what good they have done. So there is a lot of gratitude in this, thankfulness in this patient later on. When they realize like their parents have done so much. Motivated, more organized, accomplishing, calmness, intellectual confusion, mistakes, forgetful, a lot of, intellectual, this function compromised because of so much is there in the emotions, repressed emotions. So somewhere it affects their intellect. Dreams, lot of dreams are there. It's just out of scope of one presentation of covering up everything of this remedy because there is so much of data. So in keywords I have written, they have dreams, same dream comes 2 nights. So next night, they know what is going to happen in the dream. Dreams of journey, dreams of flying, traveling, carnival, joyous, trinity. Sexual, trinity, represents the mythological part. Last, I have, kept a picture of trinity. Sexual dreams are there. A lot of dreams of penis, erection, sexuality, homosexuality, death, alienation, struggles, fights, family, death of family members, heights, then long things, animals, health, dreams related to health, falling sick and all that. Then horses, weapons, fire. There is another theme of, war and peacemaking. Fire, babies, mythology, embarrassment, reality, fakery, concealment, politics, forgotten dream. So many dreams are there, again, because of the loaded subconscious. So this is the picture of Trinity, which we call in Hindu, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, that is sustenance, and Mahesh is the destruction, Shiva, Lord Shiva. So Om is the first dhvani which comes at the beginning of the universe, which is creation, sustenance, and destruction. And then comes the humming. So it goes into the transcendent. So this is the trinity of plutonium nitricum. We see all these faces in this. Now I invite Shobha to carry on with the understanding of mind rubrics of plutonium nitricum.
Hello friends, we studied plutonium nitricum remedy through two beautiful cases of Dr. Anita and Dr. Aditi. And we also learned the different themes of this remedy. So while studying this remedy from mind rubrics, we found that the rubrics describing exactly same themes. This is the beauty of homeopathy. You may travel through any route and still you will reach the simillimum. This is exactly what we in our group of integrated homeopathy are trying to tell. So let's see what rubrics we have in plutonium nitricum describing these themes. So there are no specific ailments from, although there are several triggers noted in several cases, but the patients do get affected by suppressed anger, disappointed love, embarrassment, mortification, mental and emotional consequences. The basic personality is very cheerful, confident, content, and courageous. And we have understood plutonium nitricum in two polarity of symptoms. On one polarity, we see that there is a heaviness, decay, disintegration, and destruction. Whereas on the other polarity, there is a lightness, high spirituality, beautiful mystical feelings. And some themes of plutonium nitricum are isolation, family love, altruism, work and ethics, autonomy and loss of autonomy, child and old age, syphilitic perversions, and hiding. So let us understand the first polarity, and that is the heaviness, decay, disintegration, and destruction. So the psychosomatic destruction of plutonium nitricum is evident at all levels: emotional, intellectual, and physical. The emotional destruction ranges from violent anger, rage, anxiety on one pole to the despair, indifference to family and loved ones, and the suicidal disposition on the other pole. So if we see the anger rubrics, we can see that there is a violent anger in the patient. The anger, if things do not go after his will, or there is a suppressed anger which is being controlled, rage controlled, anger internalized, anger sleep during. There is a destructiveness with cruelty, brutality, threatening words of destruction, breaking things, kicking, shrieking, violent very easily. They get violent very easily. There is a rubric, single remedy rubric, delusion, bomb has just exploded. Now we know the relationship of plutonium nitricum with the atom bomb, right? So this type of rubrics are also available. Then anger followed by tranquility, irritability at the talk of others. Then plutonium patients, they try hard to control their emotions and anger and rage, but it results in isolation, instability, chaos, and disintegration, which puts them in despair and indifference. So there is a despair about future, recovery from disappointed love, and for the world. The despair for the world is again a single remedy rubric. Then the patient goes into the indifference towards the family, to life, indifference to the persons, indifference to all the pleasures, the things which he usually otherwise enjoyed, indifference to the suffering of others, indifference to work and the businesses also, and unfeeling, unsympathetic even towards the closest of the family. Then they go into the depression, and there is a delusion of heavy cloud, black cloud envelops them. Then there is a delusion of dark balancing with light, delusion that he's been trapped in the underworld, delusion everything seems unreal. Then there is a loss of identification with themselves. The Vermeulen in his synoptic key Materia Medica has given a note that the prover felt clearly that he changed identity depending on where he was and whom he was with. In plutonium, there is no empathy, even for her own self, because when it blasts, it destroys even self. Thus, not only there is a loss of identity, but also the destruction of person is seen, which results into the desire for death and the suicidal dispositions. So this was the emotional destruction. Now, if we see the intellectual destruction is also seen in terms of the confusion, delusion, weakness of memory, mistakes making, etc. All these rubrics. So there is a confusion of mind and person doesn't know where he is. Confusion of mind, loses his way in the well-known streets and he feels lost. There are a lot of rubrics of the memory weakness of, we see, for the proper names or for what he was about to say or what he was about to do and what he has just done also. Then there is also physical destruction seen in their inability to maintain their own structure. Then on the other polarity, we see that there is a lightness and the high spirituality. In his spirituality, his spirituality is his rising up. He has capacity to rise up from destruction to spirituality. So under the spirituality and this lightness rubric, we see the rubrics like intuitive or relaxed feeling, letting go, detached sensation of being. And there are many rubrics of separation, like, the separate delusion that he is separated from the world, or his spirit is separated from the body, or detached as if observing from outside. This is again a single remedy rubric of plutonium, where the spirit separated from the body, soul separated from the body. And when they go nearer to spirituality, what's inside is emptiness. So there is also a rubric like delusion of emptiness. Then the other theme of the plutonium is of isolation. And we see this under the rubrics like detached sensation of being, forsaken, company aversion to when alone ameliorates, or company aversion to desire for solitude, withdrawal from the reality, expressing oneself very difficult. Then the love for the family is a very theme which is very commonly seen in almost lot of cases of plutonium, where we find the rubrics like, the love, exalted love for family, the cares and worries full of about the relatives, anxiety about his family, anxiety about the health of relatives. They are very much attached to mother fixation. This is on one side, but at the same time, when it goes on to the other side and the other pole, we see that there is a estranged from their family also. Also in altruism, the theme of altruism, we see gratitude, benevolence, sympathetic and sensitive when hearing of the cruelties. The work and the ethics is another theme in which we see that they are very industrious and they are hurry in occupation and desire to do several things at once. Another important theme of the plutonium is autonomy and loss of autonomy. Now, plutonium's syphilitic miasm destructiveness is seen through its disrupted, uncontrolled, unstable behavior, which is converting autonomy to loss of autonomy. And this is seen through chaotic life, self-control, loss of alcoholism, delusion walking. He has been walking for years, which is like releasing his pent-up energy, and moral feelings want of. There are also syphilitic perversion seen through homosexuality, mannish women, masculinity, increased sensation of hatred for men in women, effeminate. There is also child and old age theme, which is commonly seen in this, in which there is a rubric delusion, child, he is like a child, he is a child and he acts like a child. In delusion, old he is. The hiding is another theme which is seen. We see that plutonium patients are very secretive, and there is a rubric like delusion, he is behind a mask. Now, these plutonium patients are closed persons and they are difficult to know. It is difficult to know their minds. This is their defense mechanism. It is their self-protective protection mechanism, because they know society will not accept as they are. There is one beautiful case by Liz Lalor on the internet, where the theme of the case is like, I am not connected to the role I am playing, and then I feel safer. So thus, the plutonium actinide, which is located in third column, because of its control loss of corrodes and destroys internal organs and results in multiple grave deep syphilitic pathologies. Thank you.
Anybody wants to say anything? Kushala, Nirupama, Aditi?
Kushala, you're
I-
muted.
I think we have covered, largely we have covered in the last session and today.
So, friends, we have seen two cases of plutonium nitricum. The first case, if you see, a very controlled person with control developed lot of syphilitic pathologies. And the second case, if you see, the toddler who could not achieve control and faced repeated failures. And what happens with that? The fire spilled all over. He destructed himself. He was destructing the environment around. And what result homeopathy can give? Both the patients, if you see, such a deep pathological case number 1, and so much pathology created in environment by case number 2. The patient himself was suffering and the whole family was suffering because of that. And the only one remedy healed so many people, the patient and the environment around them. That is the strength of our homeopathic medicine. With this, we end our today's session and we will keep coming with the new remedies. Keep watching us on Integrated Homeopathy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.